people who pooped on the bathroom floor in high school. Why? Okay, it wasn't a bathroom floor, it was the floor of a laundromat at an apartment complex at which I lived. I was 12 and got home after walking from school. But Dad hadn't gotten home yet, so I was locked out of the apartment. For the record, as a kid I didn't shit at school. Couldn't. So now I didn't know what to do, but I knew the shit was coming. I tried holding it, and I promise, I moved around, tried occupying my mind with other things, tried running. Next thing I know, I'm in the corner of the laundromat shitting on the floor. God, I'm so ashamed to admit this even 15 years later. I have nightmares about the cleaning staff or the unlucky tenant just trying to get their clothes out of the dryer and coming upon a steaming hot shit right the fuck there. I tried to convince myself that they all must have thought it was a dog, but I remember. That shit was distinctly human. It haunts my soul. They saw it on the cameras and just said a prayer after every time they saw you since. On my first deployment, someone took a massive shit in one of the toilets and covered it with an entire roll of toilet paper, and it stayed like that for days. Then, someone shit on top of that first layer and covered it with another huge wad of toilet paper. About 2 weeks later, someone added another layer of shit and toilet paper, effectively creating a shit lasagna. Eventually it all disappeared. I'm not sure how, but I just know one day it was gone and the madness was finally over. The very first night of my first time at Bonnaroo Outdoor Musical Festival, me and the guys I was with walked past a porta potty that had a literal shit mountain piled up probably a good 8 to 10 inches past the rim of the seat. Like multiple people had decided they would add to the shit heap. And when I say first night, I mean the only thing going on was getting people parked, entered into the grounds. It wasn't even 10 o'clock at night. Needless to say, my friend who had a problem with porta potties beforehand lost his fucking mind and ate an entire box of Imodium. Did not end well. Was going to comment a very similar story, except at a medium-sized construction site. The craziest part was there 2 other porta potties on the site that hadn't even been used. A few months ago I actually walked in on this person literally taking a shit on the floor. We were the only ones in there. It was a couple of hours after school had ended. I really didn't know what to do and was still for a few seconds before she started frantically talking and said something about it being an act of defiance or something, and was saying she hated the school. I kinda just laughed it off for a second before leaving and going to another bathroom. I didn't say anything to a teacher because I think she was a 9th or 10th grader and I don't know her name. Definitely an interesting part of my education. There is a mystery suspect making a mess of the bathrooms at my business right now. Not a school, grown-ups-ish work here. Throwing used toilet paper on the ground, pissing all over, wiping poop on the toilet paper dispenser. They go to the bathroom with no cameras outside, but despite that I've still narrowed it down to one of about 12 people. I'll catch you eventually. Mount a discreet wireless one outside that bathroom. Go check immediately after every person uses it. 1 day of lost productivity would be worth it. Exactly. Also, I'm wondering how he's narrowed it down to 12 people. Are there 12 regulars that spend a decent amount of time in the restroom? Sounds like it's a business office place and they probably can't set up any external cameras. His best bet is coordinating frequent bathroom visits between himself and some trusted coworkers. It's only happened I think 4 or 5 times so far, and we're talking a staff of over 150 with people moving around a lot. We're doing exactly what you suggested. I can tell it's happening early in the morning, amongst other patterns that we've noticed. They also wipe boogers all over everything. You think this is limited to high school? I've heard horror stories from my friends who work in nice professional offices where people poop on the floor and smear it all over the stalls. I was in RA for 3 years, and we always trained with other RAs and swapped stories. Our largest female-only reshool had around 1,000 occupants, and every year, there was a new poop smearer on a different floor. It never happened in the male or co-ed halls, just there, about every 3 to 5 weeks. I was in RA for a male dorm for 2 years. Never did anyone ever poop smear. Drunk people pissed everywhere, but no poop smearing. Same, RA, same. One RA had a kid piss on his door every Saturday morning between 3 to 5 a.m. The RA was universally disliked, but that was too far. He stayed up one Saturday when he was on call and waited for the dude. Opens the door mid-piss and the dude falls into his room and rolls around soaking everything in piss. Kid got kicked off campus. Raw did not return after that year. I was in Raw and I hated those dickhead Ross that I had to work with. They were always trying to catch residents to get them kicked out for stupid things, so no one liked them. It was really pathetic that they power tripped us in Raw. I know every Raw like that never amounted to anything after college. The only people I ever had to bust for alcohol were morons that were drinking with their window shades open at night with their light on. The building manager saw this from the parking lot and said we had to stop them. I took pictures of only one bottle and said to shut their window shades and get rid of it. Then I turned in the report the next day. It felt stupid to do that, but we were forced to. Normally as in Raw, we just told people to turn down the fucking music and stop trying to bring attention to themselves. We said if we came back we would bust them. But we never came back. The only people that I would try to get in trouble really were dicks that kept refusing to turn down their music in the middle of the night while others were trying to sleep. And I am talking loud as fuck music you could hear from the next floor. Some people were just assholes that had no business being in college. Yeah, I was a total shit Raw in the other direction my first year. Thought talking to people was consequence enough. That stopped when a resident of mine almost died from alcohol poisoning after I'd already told them to keep it down, and I knew that I could have done more to prevent that. I found a good mentor my second year and found a solid middle ground. I even made a career of res life and property management. There's definitely a good middle road where you offer valuable advice and also maintain hall rules, but it ain't always easy, and documentation is important. My chemistry teacher told us a story about a student who I'm positive was an old god of lore. He took a shit in a cabinet of the most hated teacher in a high school of 3,000 students, and that old cunt let it sit there for weeks. It hardened to the cabinet, and the only reason it got taken care of was because someone reported the horrible smell. Why? Because she told him he couldn't go to the bathroom, no reason given. Saw a kid urinate in a trash can in the corner of the classroom once because a teacher wouldn't let him go to the bathroom. Pretty sure the teacher was right and the kid would have just went to the cafeteria to hang out, but he felt challenged when the teacher said no, I guess. Kids. Ha. My friend in middle school did the same thing. He legitimately had to go and the teacher was a substitute for the day that couldn't handle the classroom anymore. He asked a few more times and couldn't hold it anymore. I think the teacher was in the wrong. I once was denied bathroom by a sub. She told me 3 times and by that time I couldn't hold it in, so I just ran out the class. This is the proper response. Like, yo, let me go relive myself. I'm gonna do it one way or another, and I'm more so letting you know than asking permission. Take it up with the principal if you got a problem with that, lol. Maybe because I was never really told I could go to the bathroom, but if I had been told no and I needed to go, I would have just gone. I'd rather get detention than pee my pants. Or worse. It wasn't in high school, but when I was a young kid out, public library was the spot to go to meet up other kids to walk around town. The security guard was a notorious asshole who would make groups of over 3 kids leave because of gang activity. After a few months of this going on, a few of the groups of kids would shit on the floor in the bathroom knowing he was the one that had to clean it. He didn't work there much longer. So this is slightly off topic but relevant nonetheless. When I was young, I went to after-school care at a local rec center. One day I was there and went to use the bathroom. I was taking a leak at a urinal and I kept smelling shit, and I figured someone had just took a huge dump recently and that's what I was smelling. So I finished up peeing and getting ready to go wash my hands and just happened to peek at the ceiling. I'm sure at this point you understand where this is going, but directly above where I was peeing, there was a turd stuck to the ceiling. Sophomore year of high school, a bunch of friends and I were drinking at this dude's house. We'll call him Greg. This was our first time drinking, more or less, and we were just chilling, having few drinks. We were playing GTA and Greg walks into the bathroom, comes out a few minutes later, and sits down. Soon someone else goes into the bathroom, comes back and asks, almost like he's trying not to laugh, did someone take a shit on the floor? We all get up to investigate, and sure enough, there it was, a big, slunking turd presented to us in the center of the cool linoleum like it was on a silver fucking platter. We laughed ourselves to tears, looked up, and saw Greg sitting there. He is trying his absolute best to not start laughing, but this is the funniest shit he's ever seen. I ask him between my laughs, "Did you shit on your own bathroom floor?" To which he replies, "Yeah. I don't know, I thought it would be pretty funny." Thank you for watching. I hope that you liked this video. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one.